Get ready, because the Yellowstone universe is about to get a whole lot bigger. Did you think the Dutton family's drama was intense before? Well, now they're taking it all the way back to the 1940s with the brand new prequel, 1944. What's 1944 about? If you binged 1883 and 1923, you're going to love this one, which dives even deeper into the Dutton family legacy during one of the most chaotic times in history, World War II. Almost no details have been released yet, but the title 1944 gives us a big clue about where and when the story takes place. The Duttons were sure to feel the impact of World War II reaching Montana's ranches. Just like 1923 heightened the tension with the Great Depression and Prohibition, 1944 will raise the stakes with the backdrop of a world at war. Can you picture the war shaking the Duttons? Some of them could be shipped off to fight in the biggest battles of history, leaving the ranch vulnerable and under tremendous pressure. If the men are gone, the women of the Dutton family might have to take charge, making this the most female-driven chapter of the Dutton saga yet. Imagine the Dutton women stepping into leadership roles to protect the ranch, despite everything around them falling apart. The Dutton Ranch and the war. How will the Dutton Ranch fare during the war? In 1923, the Dutton family was already struggling to keep their land, with the ruthless businessman Donald Whitfield still holding their mortgage. Fast forward a couple of decades, and those financial troubles likely haven't disappeared. Will 1944 finally resolve that storyline? Will the Duttons reclaim their ranch, or will they face even bigger challenges with the war looming over them? It wouldn't be Yellowstone if things weren't intense. Imagine the pressure of keeping the ranch afloat during tough economic times, while also dealing with the possibility of government requisitioning land and resources for the war effort. Could we see the military stepping in, taking over land, or demanding supplies from the ranch? And if that happens, how will the Duttons react? The stakes have never been higher. Yellowstone 1944 casting. Here's where things get even more intriguing. Right now, casting details are a mystery, but fans can't help but speculate which familiar faces from 1923 might make an appearance. Could we see the return of Spencer Dutton, played by Brandon Sklenar, and his wife Alexandra? If so, they'll be much older now, and their storylines could take on a whole new twist. And what about Jack Dutton and Elizabeth Strafford? If they're still around, they're bound to be central figures in this new chapter of the family saga. But wait, there's more. Remember Tiana Rainwater, played by Amina Neves? She survived horrific events in 1923, escaping from a brutal boarding school. Given that the Rainwater family eventually leads the Broken Rock Reservation in the Yellowstone timeline, her story could absolutely carry over into 1944. Seeing how her character evolves could be one of the most exciting parts of the new series. She's one tough woman, and there's no telling what she'll be up to by 1944. And what's a new Yellowstone prequel without fresh faces? Just like 1923 brought in heavy hitters like Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, 1944 is expected to introduce some major Hollywood talent. Who could be joining the cast? We'll have to wait and see. No official casting announcements have been made yet, but the buzz has fans on the edge of their seats. Will they bring in another big-name actor to carry the show? Time will tell. The drama we can expect in Yellowstone 1944. If you thought the Dutton family had it tough before, 1944 might take things to the next level. The Duttons will be facing serious challenges during World War II. Will some of them be drafted into the military? If that happens, they could find themselves in some of the most pivotal battles of the war. Meanwhile, those back home in Montana will have to fend for themselves as the world seems to be falling apart around them. That could lead to some serious family conflicts. Will there be arguments over who gets to stay and who has to go fight? Will the younger generation step up, or will the pressure of war split the family apart? One thing is certain, Yellowstone 1944 is shaping up to be one of the most intense and dramatic chapters in the Dutton saga yet. Stay tuned. Dutton must navigate the socio-political changes of the 1940s with so much on the line. This series could be the most intense Yellowstone spin-off yet. What we do know is that 1944 is going to be crammed full of high-stakes drama. There's no shortage of material to explore, whether it's the Dutton family struggles that continued from 1923, the direct impact of the war on the family, or a shift in the power dynamic within the Dutton household. Will the war tear them apart, or will the family stick together through the chaos? In the end, who will remain standing? Yellowstone 1944 release date. If you're wondering when 1944, the latest Yellowstone prequel, will actually hit the screens, well, you're in luck. We've got some news for you. And you might want to buckle up because this one is going to be a bit of a wait. 1944 was officially announced in late 2023. But production has hit some serious roadblocks. Why? Tons of projects, including this one, are delayed due to the ongoing SAGA, FTRA, and WGA strikes that have disrupted Hollywood productions across the board. Don't expect 1944 to premiere before 2026. It's still a few years away. If you're thinking, wait, that's so far away, we hear you. However, there's plenty of Yellowstone content to keep us occupied in the meantime. 1923 Season 2 and Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 are still on the way. Plus, other Taylor Sheridan projects, like 6666, are also in development. While 1944 is delayed, there's no shortage of Dutton drama ahead. The main Yellowstone series is expected to wrap up by the end of 2024, and that's when we'll start seeing other spin-offs air before 1944 eventually makes its grand debut. It may be a bit of a wait, but fans of the franchise aren't in a rush. With the success of 1883 and 1923, 1944 is bound to be worth it. Will Yellowstone 1944 happen? Now, you might be wondering, how sure are we that 1944 is really happening? The good news is that Paramount is all in on expanding the Yellowstone universe. They won't let this opportunity pass by. The Dutton family saga is a global phenomenon, and if you've seen how wildly successful 1883 and 1923 were, you know these prequels have cemented the Yellowstone franchise as a cultural hit. Paramount has heavily indicated that 1944 is a big part of their future plans. The franchise's mastermind, Taylor Sheridan, is committed to exploring new periods in the Dutton family's history. Paramount executives have been vocal about how much 1944 means for the future of the series. So yes, 1944 is coming, just not as soon as we had hoped. But don't forget, Yellowstone isn't just a hit in the U.S., it's a global phenomenon with over 100 million fans worldwide. That massive fan base will continue to demand more Dutton stories, and 1944 promises to deliver. Chris McCarthy, president and CEO of Showtime and MTV Entertainment Studios, has played a key role in expanding the Yellowstone franchise. He describes 1944 as a thrilling new chapter, filled with unexpected twists, while maintaining the deep-rooted complexities that define the series. Taylor Sheridan's storytelling ability continues to shine, and 1944 will introduce new challenges and characters while keeping the heart of the Dutton family intact. Tom Prince, executive vice president of 101 Studios, has confirmed that the upcoming series will likely be filmed in familiar locations, such as the Chief Joseph Ranch in Montana, the same site used for the original Yellowstone series, and 1923. Prince has noted that the iconic ranch setting will play a critical role in the show, particularly as the Dutton family contends with the socio-economic challenges brought on by World War II. He also hinted that 1944 could follow a new generation of Duttons, while potentially bringing back older versions of characters from 1923. The Yellowstone universe explained. While the flagship Yellowstone series is set to take its final bow this November, Taylor Sheridan's world of Dutton drama is far from over. The Yellowstone universe is thriving with plenty of new stories on the horizon. Let's start with the OG Yellowstone itself. This is the show that started it all back in 2018 and turned the Dutton family's Montana ranch into one of the most dramatic and beloved TV settings ever. But after 5 intense seasons, the series is ready to gallop into the sunset. The final part of Season 5 is set to premiere on November 10, 2024, and it's going to be one heck of a farewell. The news that Yellowstone was ending didn't exactly come as a shock. Kevin Costner, who plays John Dutton, had been in a standoff with the studio over his filming schedule, which caused major delays in production. Ultimately, Costner confirmed this summer that he was officially leaving the show, and that meant Sheridan had to figure out how to wrap up John Dutton's storyline. Fans will have to tune in to see exactly how Sheridan will handle Costner's exit and whether John Dutton will meet a dramatic or quiet end. Despite the drama behind the scenes, Yellowstone has been a massive success. The premiere of Season 5, Part 1 broke ratings records and was the biggest overnight launch for the series. With its final episodes on the way, fans are eager to see how the Dutton family story concludes, especially given the cliffhanger we were left with at the end of Part 1. Even though Costner is stepping away, you can still expect to see Kelly Reilly, Wes Bentley, Luke Grimes, Cole Hauser, and Kelsey Aspill return for the last part of the season. If you're trying to catch up, keep in mind that due to an old licensing deal, Yellowstone streams exclusively on Peacock, not Paramount Plus. But CBS has been re-airing the entire series on Sunday nights to give fans a chance to relive the Dutton family drama. While Yellowstone may be ending, the Dutton family story is far from over. Sheridan has been expanding the universe with prequels that go deeper into the family's history. And let's just say they've been a hit. First up, we've got 1883, which launched in December 2021, and takes us all the way back to the Dutton family's journey to Montana. Narrated by Isabel May, the series followed James and Margaret Dutton as they traveled along the Oregon Trail. It was an epic adventure filled with danger, hardship, and the beginnings of what would eventually become the Yellowstone Ranch we know today. 1883 was such a success that it helped kick off Sheridan's plan to expand the Yellowstone universe. The series drew millions of viewers and gained even more attention when it was aired on Paramount Network after being available on Paramount Plus for a year. The story may have been a limited series, but it set the stage for everything that came next. That brings us to 1923, the next prequel that premiered in 2022. Set a few decades after the events of 1883, this series stars the legendary Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren as Jacob and Cara Dutton, the elder Duttons trying to keep the ranch alive during tough times. The show dives into the aftermath of World War I and the challenges of raising the next generation of Duttons. 1923 was an immediate hit and ended on a major cliffhanger that had fans begging for more. Luckily, it was quickly renewed for a second season, and production is already underway. While we don't have an exact premiere date yet, It's safe to say that 1923 Season 2 will pick up right where the first season left off, continuing the Dutton family saga during a turbulent time in American history. Now, let's talk about the future of the Yellowstone universe. Sheridan isn't done with the Duttons just yet, and there are some exciting new spin-offs in the works. One of the upcoming shows is The Madison, which was initially titled 2024. The show will explore themes of grief and human connection, following a New York City family in Montana's Madison River Valley. While Matthew McConaughey was once rumored to be in talks to star in The Madison, that deal didn't pan out. However, we've got some exciting names lined up for the cast, including Patrick J. Adams, Eliza Chapman, and Beau Garrett. It's still unclear how the Duttons will tie into this spin-off, but fans are eager to see how Sheridan continues the legacy of the family dynasty in this new era. And then there's the spin-off that's sure to get fans excited, 1944. Given how pivotal the 1940s were for the United States, you can bet that this show will bring more drama, hardship, and struggles for the Duttons as they try to hold on to their land. Sheridan has hinted that he's been brewing up several ideas for more prequels, but 1944 is the first one to officially get the green light. Like the previous series, it will be produced by MTV Entertainment Studios and 101 Studios, so expect the same high-quality storytelling and production value we've seen in Yellowstone, 1883, and 1923. 1923 finally. Let's not forget about 4/6, another spin-off that's still in the works. This series will focus on the real-life 4/6 ranch, which was featured in Yellowstone and is located in Texas. Jefferson White, who plays Jimmy in Yellowstone, was set to star in the spin-off, but the show has been put on hold for now. Taylor Sheridan actually purchased the 4/6 ranch, which is a real working ranch with deep roots in Texas history. So he's taking his time to make sure the series is handled with care. As he told The Hollywood Reporter, you have to respect the lineage. While 4/6 might not be coming out anytime soon, it's definitely something to keep on your radar. Will Yellowstone, 1944, need to recast some characters? It makes sense to ask which characters from 1923 we will see again and which ones will need to be recast. You already know that each Yellowstone prequel gives us a glimpse into different generations of the Dutton family. First, we met the first Duttons, James and Margaret, played by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, in 1883. Their journey with their children, Elsa and John, took them along the Oregon Trail, eventually settling on the land that would become the legendary Dutton Ranch. Next came 1923, which shifted to the next generation. James and Margaret had died, and after World War I, the ranch was run by James's brother, Jacob, and his wife, Cara. We also met a grown-up John Dutton alongside his younger brother, Spencer, a World War I veteran haunted by his experiences in battle. Now, we're about to meet yet another generation of Duttons, and we're in for another dramatic and intense ride. With this in mind, which familiar faces from 1923 can we expect to cross over into 1944? This is where it gets tricky. Since 1923 and 1944 are 20 years apart, we're going to see major changes. Many characters will be much older, which means several will need to be rewritten and recast with new actors. Let's start with the Duttons, who may or may not still be around. If Jacob and Cara Dutton were the power couple of 1923, they would likely have passed away by 1944. This means Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren probably won't be returning. However, we can't completely rule out the possibility of flashbacks. Now, what about John and Spencer Dutton? John, who played a key role in 1923, could return in 1944. but as an older, more seasoned version of himself. Spencer, on the other hand, might not make it to the new series. Based on what we know from 1923, Spencer struggles with severe trauma from the war, making his survival uncertain. One character we are almost certain to see is Jack Dutton, played by Darren Mann in 1923. Jack is John's son and Jacob's great-nephew, and he is deeply committed to the ranch. By 1944, it's highly likely that Jack will be running the Dutton family's Montana estate, stepping into a leadership role as the head of the ranch. Darren Mann could return to play the older version of Jack, but depending on how much time has passed, the character may be recast. Makeup and aging effects could be used, but a new actor is also a possibility. And let's not forget about Elizabeth Strafford Dutton, Jack's fierce wife, played by Michelle Randolph. Given her strong-willed and resilient nature, we can easily imagine her playing a major role in 1944. Like Jack, she could either be played by Randolph again or be recast. One key character who hasn't yet been introduced in 1923, but will be central to 1944, is John Dutton Sr., the father of Kevin Costner's John Dutton from the original Yellowstone series. From what we know, John Sr. is expected to be born sometime in the 1920s, meaning he will be a young man in 1944. This could give us a fascinating look at the next link in the Dutton family tree as we witness how John Sr. grows into the patriarchal figure we've heard about in Yellowstone. This is one of the most exciting aspects of 1944. It will help fill in even more gaps in the Dutton family's history, connecting the dots between the characters we already know and love. Taylor Sheridan's other projects. The work of cowboy storyteller Taylor Sheridan extends far beyond genre. His influence in TV and film doesn't end with ranches and Western dramas. His Yellowstone universe may be his crown jewel, but his career includes a long list of hit projects, from critically acclaimed films to successful TV shows. Sheridan has cemented himself as one of the most recognizable names in Hollywood. Did you know that Taylor Sheridan's first directorial project wasn't a Western? It was actually a horror film titled Vile. Technically, it was the first film he directed, but it isn't widely recognized compared to his later work. Really his true debut because he doesn't really consider it as such. And here's the kicker. It's not like anything he's ever done. As a brutal, hard-to-watch horror story, Vile is about a group of people who get kidnapped and forced to torture each other for survival. Sheridan stepped in to support a friend who put up some money for the project. He never let anyone know the extent to which he was responsible for the film. He simply felt it was more a learning experience than anything else. This is where Sheridan starts to make waves. Though shot in 2015, Sheridan penned the screenplay for Sicario, Denis Villeneuve's pulse-pounding crime thriller. It's about an FBI agent who becomes sucked into a U.S. government task force aimed at Mexican drug cartels. Featuring Josh Brolin, Daniel Kaluuya, and Benicio del Toro, the cast is absolutely packed with talent. Next up is Hell or High Water, which feels much more in line with Sheridan's signature style. This neo-Western heist film follows two brothers who start robbing banks to save their family's ranch. Of course, this catches the attention of a pair of Texas Rangers, and the chase is on. The film is packed with tension and moral complexity, blending action with heartfelt moments. Sheridan's script earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay, and it's easy to see why. This movie is top-tier storytelling. Now we get to what Sheridan himself considers his proper directorial debut, Wind River. This thriller, starring Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, follows two agents investigating a murder on a Native American reservation in Wyoming. The story is dark and gripping, with Sheridan delivering both as the writer and the director. Wind River is often grouped with Sicario and Hell, or High Water, as part of an unofficial trilogy because of its similar themes and tone. If you liked those two, this one is an absolute must-watch. Following the success of the first Sicario, Sheridan took on writing and directing duties for the sequel, Sicario, Day of the Soldado. Emily Blunt didn't return, so the focus shifts to Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro's characters as they deal with the chaos of drug cartels smuggling terrorists across the border. While it doesn't quite reach the heights of the original, it's still a solid, gritty thriller. The dynamic between Brolin and del Toro alone makes it worth watching, even if it falls a bit short of its predecessor's brilliance. In 2021, Sheridan was brought on to rewrite Without Remorse, a Tom Clancy adaptation starring Michael B. Jordan as John Clark. The film, which landed on Amazon Prime, was meant to be the start of a new cinematic universe based on Clancy's works. Sheridan helped modernize the script, originally written in the early 90s. Director Stefano Salama praised Sheridan's ability to add depth to the characters and bring a sharper focus on the geopolitical aspects of the story. While the movie didn't launch the Clancy universe as hoped, Jordan's performance and Sheridan's tweaks made it worth checking out if you're into military action flicks. Those Who Wish Me Dead is Sheridan's second time writing and directing a movie. It stars Angelina Jolie as a smoke jumper, a firefighter trained to parachute into wildfires, who's trying to protect a young boy from assassins after they kill his father. The plot is intriguing, and Jolie and Jon Bernthal bring solid performances, but it doesn't quite hit the mark like Sheridan's other works. It's good, but not great. You won't regret watching it, but it's not the first movie you'll think of when someone asks for a Sheridan recommendation. Beyond Yellowstone and its spin-offs, Sheridan has also created plenty of other successful TV shows. Mayor of Kingstown began in 2021, and this gritty drama stars Jeremy Renner as Mike McCluskey, the unofficial mayor of a small town dominated by its prison. Sheridan co-created the show with Hugh Dillon, and it's already been renewed for multiple seasons. Tulsa King first aired in 2022 and starred Sylvester Stallone. This series follows a mafia capo who sets up shop in Tulsa after being released from prison. Sheridan created the show but has taken a more hands-off role in its production. Then came Special Ops, Lioness in 2023. This action-packed series starring Zoe Saldana and Nicole Kidman follows a female CIA operative navigating the complexities of life in a high-stakes military operation. The show has been renewed for a second season, so there's more intense spy drama on the way. Sheridan isn't slowing down anytime soon. In addition to 1944 and The Madison, he has several other projects in development. Landman is one of them. This drama about the oil industry in West Texas will star Jon Hamm, Demi Moore, and Billy Bob Thornton. It's expected to premiere in November 2024 and promises to be a deep dive into the cutthroat world of oil drilling. So hang tight because 1944 is absolutely happening. It's just going to take a little longer to get here.